Survivor 50 was just announced by Jeff Probst. Last week, I covered my dream cast for Survivor 50. I was hoping to see people like Carolyn, Stephanie LaGrossa, and so many more. But this week, we are going to the depths of hell and never coming back. We are experiencing full depravity, full lunacy. Today, we will be looking at my nightmare picks for Survivor 50. Jokes aside, I want to make clear that the people that I picked were picked specifically because of the reception that they got from their original season and how I think it will all combine into its own season. I tried to stay away from some of the more controversial people on the show. I also want to make clear that I don't really think any of these people are bad people. Some of them you could argue are definitely bad people, yes. But this video is just for goofs. Alright, we're just goofing around here. Banu. I think his social game is on top, right? He's feeding people. He's forming alliances left and right. I think Banu specifically was the reason I wanted to make this list. I don't even mind Banu as a person, but I think as a casting decision for this show, I believe that if he came back for Survivor 50, he could possess the potential power to pray to his god and paralyze the entire cast, just like he did with Randon. At number 2, we have Alicia Rosa from Survivor One World. I feel like it could have been just the whole cast of One World minus Kim Spradlin. But let's be real, Alicia was one of the more mean-spirited people in that season. Her treatment of Christina was really tough to watch.
Christina's IQ is probably a 0. I don't know if that even exists. I mean, I'm a special ed teacher, so I handle Christina as one of my students. And please, if I saw her swimming in an ocean and she was drowning, I'd probably look the other way.
And there's a good chance she might get the purple edit. I don't know why. There's just I have a feeling that would happen. At number 3, we got Dan Foley. Proper fat guy representation.
I am a fat guy. It's not going to hold.
His words, not mine. From a, social experiment standpoint, I think his casting kind of worked. But as a person who I would enjoy to hang out with, he's pretty far down the list. Debbie. What is she? I mean, is she a waitress, a gymnast, a scientist, a soldier, a superhero? Is she pissed? She's gonna be pissed in this nightmare cast scenario. I, for some reason, saw Debbie going to the end as a final tribal council goat, which I'm surprised she wasn't before. There is absolutely no way anyone could take her seriously. Especially with Survivor 50, I think they're going to want to pick someone who represents that season. Debbie's not going to be the person, but I don't think really any of these people are. Why am I taking this so seriously? Philip Shepard, Special Agent. Mission objective: find and destroy the Hourglass. I picked Philip for obvious reasons. I think anyone that has seen seasons that he's been on knows exactly why Philip is here. He's honestly one of the more mind-boggling contestants ever, because I still don't understand him as a person. I think it'd be awesome if they did a MeUndies sponsor like they do with Applebee's and their movie rewards, and they gave Philip some pink underwear. Next up, we got Corinne Kaplan from Gabon. Gabon is also one of those seasons where it could have been the whole cast, but I actually really like Gabon. I enjoy watching Gabon. So we're trying to make a nightmare cast, so we're trying to make it relatively a good mix of toxic, attitude, scariness. I think Corinne is a good mix of all those things. She had somewhat of a character arc when she came back for Caramoan, even though that season was bad. But she could have even more of a character arc if she came back and was, she's like Mother Teresa out here, I mean, I think this is a pretty obvious pick. It was between her and Randy, and I don't have Randy on this list, but I think Corinne really, comes off as more cruel than Randy for some reason. At number 7, we got Shamar Thomas, also from Survivor Caramoan. A lot of people from Caramoan, but I promise that changes. He can gaslight his tribe into thinking they want immunity, so they never strategize and have to scramble each time they go to vote, thus always being in control of the vote and never revealing his plan until final tribal council. A master plan in my opinion, and I feel like he tried to do this in his season by acting like they won an immunity challenge when they really didn't. Unfortunately, he does have a weakness to sand, and he still gets sand in his eye and medevaced right before final tribal council, just like Eric and Caramoan, right? Next up, we got Missy Payne from Survivor San Juan del Sur. Mother, no daughter? What's she do? Missy and Baylor were going to be conjoined here. I was going to have Baylor on this list as well, but I felt like just Missy would have been such a strange casting decision. I didn't really have much to add about Missy, and I think that makes this decision just that much more reasonable. Alright, so we got Russell and Brandon Hantz, and I have them playing as one singular player, right? So that means if you just write down Hantz, and it's like they both count as one person if they get voted out. Russ would probably continue to be Russell, right, and have like an awful social game. Brandon would probably kill someone, but I think he would just pray and everything would be alright. These two would be truly a threat, specifically because there's two of them. But I think, if Survivor's changing the game, then at some point they're going to have to make a casting decision like this, casting two people as one person. Halfway through the list, we got Naonka Mixon from Survivor Nicaragua. I see Naonka having a character arc unlike a lot of these people. Because our first season, she was very abrasive, rude, physical, outspoken. Most of those aren't bad character traits, but I think her being rude and generally unliked by a lot of people was her downfall until she quit. I believe, since that season, it'll be 15 years? She will have evolved over time, and now she's become a super player. I think she would do great playing perfectly under the radar in a dominant alliance. At number 11, we have Taylor Stalker from Millennials vs. Gen X. He's just here to eat. Let's be real. He goes on reward. He's asked who he wants to take. He says no one. He doesn't want to take anyone. And Jeff's like, well, that's a first. That never has happened before. And he goes on reward and just eats all the food. I believe he would have a GOAT status. I don't think people would take him seriously because he's just there to eat the shitty Survivor pizza. I mean, look how shitty that is, for real. At number 12, we have Lisi Linares from Fiji. At around this point, it was very difficult to pick more women players than it was for men, which probably says a lot about society as a whole, right? In season 50, she comes back, right? She actually wants to be there and win the game this time, and she has that she has good momentum in those first two episodes. They do that with some players in some seasons with an edit where it's they kind of picking up steam for the first couple episodes and then they just get voted out. That's the kind of edit she would get. But this time she actually just falls over and just gets medevaced because she fell on her face or something.
Moto.
At number 13, we have Adam Gentry from Cook Islands. I think his story this season is he's distraught over not being cast on Blood vs. Water with Candace Woodcock. He believes he has to redeem himself and prove he is a good Survivor player to both Candace and Reddit. I think the idea of Adam coming back is hilarious to me. He is one of those people where I'm watching the show and I can't really figure out why I don't like him, and I'm almost certain it's just his face. At number 14, we have Courtney Merritt from Survivor Panama, Exile Island. She's my personal winner pick for this season, right? she's a slay. It is a nightmare season, and I gotta remind people of that, but this is hardly realism. But I think, if we're living in a dimension where season 50 is terrible, I think Courtney Merritt would be sort of like an Erica, where she gets that kind of edit, like a Natalie White as well, where she gets an edit that is so underwhelming and doesn't explain her game at all. And then when she wins, you're like, where did that come from? It takes probably like a couple years before she does receive that credit, just like Erica or Natalie White. Number 15, we have Kyle Jason, back and more beefy than ever. He's a beast at challenges besides anything that involves balance, focus, puzzles, numbers, patterns, endurance, stamina, or self-control. But everything else, he has got under control. When it comes to strength, he'll be there. Also, I want to point out in this first picture, what the hell is he doing with his fingers? I showed my roommate this picture, and she was like, what is he doing with his fingers? And now it's just like a pose that I think about. Like what is that? Like, what is that? At number 16, we have the beautiful, the hilarious Kathy Sleckman from Survivor Micronesia. I had to put in like one decent person in here, but it couldn't have been like a very obviously decent person. It had to have been someone that you would like have to go through like 20 or 30 Survivor players, maybe more, to like think of Kathy Slickman, right? She might be the person that a lot of us root for, because I think she could have like a good redemption story. Willard Smith from Survivor Palau. The first boot, unfortunately. The only reason I have him cast is in hopes that they make the idol look exactly like him again. And then Jeff would be making Jelinski-esque jokes about like, long live Willard Smith. Maybe they could like make just like a bust of Willard's head this time. At number 18, we have Jatia Taylor from Survivor Cagayan. I was thinking long and hard about what Jatia would be doing, and I have a feeling it would be the literal same exact thing. She would just dump the rice out, and she would somehow survive a vote after that.
I think I'm the smartest person here, hands down.
And I think she would keep surviving votes because of this new era stuff where there's, advantages at every turn. And I could see her becoming a strategic threat. Not necessarily a social threat, but strategy, yes. I think by the time Merge comes, she's gone and becomes the mayor of Ponderosa. And I kind of like that as like a personal headcanon. So I really don't know why, but I did not record anything for Colton. I'm blonde now. I know Colton has had a character arc in real life, which is great to hear. And having him back would actually be a strangely pleasant surprise in a real season. But knowing what we know about Colton, this is a terrible idea. Last but not least, we have Cass McQuillan. I know it's maybe not the most exciting pick, because Chaos Cass is her nickname. And it's so obvious to pick Cass for a list like this. Personally, there's a lot that I think I like about Cass and her character arc throughout her 2 seasons, right? But I believe if she came back, she would be so chaotic that the sands of Fiji would tremble beneath the players and suck them into the earth hole. Her hair would turn into skin-eating vipers that'll melt your eyes. She might be an early boot because of that, though. But anyways, those are my nightmare casting picks for Survivor 50. Is there anyone you would include? Is there anyone you would not include? I always read the comments. People love to start some interesting conversations in there, especially since I'm just starting out. I've been getting a lot of support. This is my first kind of like silly video, and I had a blast making it. I'm excited to finish Survivor 46. I know that is just about to end, and I'm pretty certain my next video is going to be my review of Survivor 46. Keep an eye out for that. Hope you guys have a good one. See you later.